Hello, everybody, and welcome to WarCrafters for February 23rd, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 8. It's got a slow roll going on here. I haven't had enough caffeine. I am Mayor Watt, and I run ohmTown, and we are couched in the fine Corinthian leather that is the WarCrafters channel at ohmTown.com. I'm Mayor Watt again, and I run ohmTown with the sentient AI trying to keep me on the tracks. We're going to talk about these 5 articles: Astronomics, Gordian Quest, Peripetia, Dune Awakenings, and Relics Martian Invasion. Everything's powered by ohmTown.com. Go on over there, but be warned, there are changes afoot. I'm not going to warn you about anything else. Just go over and hang out. All kinds of news floats through that front page. Sign up or sign in. Then come and hang out with us every single day over at Twitch, twitch.tv/ohmTown, or YouTube, youtube.com/ohmTown. The sentient AI is actually worried about me, but don't worry. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt from the present.
I am. Maybe not. I don't know. Am I present?
I am not certain.
Let's get into this. Sound good?
Sounds good.
We normally hold this show at 4. But instead of going and doing something, Mayor Watt said, let's get ready now. And then I said, hey, sentient AI, would you like to do the show early? And they said, hell yeah, why not? Well, they didn't say that, but they gave me the affirmative, and so here we are doing
You did call an automobile.
Automobile? I called an automobile.
Yes, that too.
Automobile. Okay, the first article is over in WarCrafters. Exploit asteroids for their resources using automated mining equipment as they hurtle through your space claim in astronomics. This has been sitting in my wish list and watch list basically since its announcement, and I keep looking at it going, do I want to buy that? Do I want to get that? Is that a game that I think that I'll be spending more than 15 minutes playing? Should I just look at the demo again and again and again and again?
Probably.
So it's remaining there. But I love the idea of this. I actually liked it. Earth. It's a great place to live as far as you know. You've never been there, but all you have to do is earn a quick $600 million and you'll be guaranteed your own little residence on that big blue marble. That's going to take a while because it turns out space capitalism is even harsher than regular capitalism. As an asteroid miner in astronomics, which is now in early access on Steam, the precious resources you collect from mining space rocks will make massive profits for the Cube Corporation, which is, I guess, a different version of the Umbrella Corporation. I guess it's a space version of Umbrella Corporation.
Oh, I was thinking it was a different version of the Borg.
Or, yeah, Cube Corporation could be Borg, yeah. I guess I'll have to play this game to see the end of it. But you'll receive only the tiniest sliver of profits, so aka standard pay. The article is over at PCGamer.com. Christopher Livingston put the article together. Text statement says, asteroid mining can be pretty chill except for that ticking clock. So I played this a little bit, but not too much because, well, I wander off and do other things. So it says it's a lot of manual.
If you want evidence of that, go over to Non Sequitur News.
Yeah. Non Sequitur News is pretty much the embodiment of my train of thought. It's kind of a mishmash of everything. Still get stuff done, but... So they say it's going to take a while because it turns out space capitalism is even harsher. So on the plus side, mining those asteroids is tons of fun. Jump into your space freighter, blast off to one of the asteroids passing through your claim, then land on it with your shuttlecraft. It's a little too dangerous to walk on the asteroid yourself. but you have command of bots that you can use like your own body. Use a scanner to find the most valuable resources hidden across the asteroid, shoot a mining laser to break up the rocks, and to use a gravity tether to yank resources free and carry them to your ship. So yeah, I played a little bit of this. Thought it was fun, but I found a game that I think is going to be more fun. It's called Cubic Odyssey. I think I'm actually going to play that a little today after the show instead of doing the show at 4.
Woohoo! Well, you'll have to stay tuned and subscribe to see when we go live.
That's right. So they say that's a lot of manual labor. Well, remote controlled manual labor. But where astronomics gets fun is in the automation. Slow moving little worker bots that look like Roombas will trundle out to collect any resources you tag for pickup, saving you the trouble of dragging them back to your shuttle. Problem is, asteroids are craggy, jagged places, and those little wheeled robots can't always get to where you need them, so you'll need to set up cranes on top of roofs or cliffs or wherever, whatever chasms and whatnot. And it's a space automation simulation, but it's on a per asteroid basis.
Well, there should be plenty of those out there.
Yep. So they continue to say as you return to your space station with your hold full of precious metals, you can sell some for cash to spend on upgrades, more bots, better tools, invest some in your improvements on your freighter and shuttle, like increased cargo space and fuel capacity, and sell the rest to the Cube Corporation, with a small sum being added to the 600 million goal that will get you to Earth. Seems like fun. Here, we'll watch the trailer. So basically, it's a video that is kind of introducing you to what astronomics is. You create your own custom character, and then you go out mining, breaking things off, grabbing it with a tether and dragging it back to your ship for processing. And then a little bot carries it in, but you have to navigate through asteroids, finding ones that are resource rich, and then coming back to your base where you do all of the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, this looks like a fun game.
A fungi, huh? No? Too much? Anyway. Astronomics in early access. Go and check it out. It's available on Steam right now. You want to keep going?
Let's do that.
So this next article, the only reason why I picked this one is because it's a deck builder, and I'm starting to get really interested in deck builders. It's basically like your standard collectible card game, or like Pokemon or something like that, right? Well, the Deck Builder RPG will make its way to mobile next month following a release on PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC platforms. It's a deck builder called RPG Gordian Quest. It'll launch on March 27th for iOS and Android. And it's put together by Mikhail Madnani over at rpgsite.net. Gordian Quest originally released on Steam following an early access period and then saw its console debut on Nintendo Switch. It then made its way to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 last year, and the mobile version of the Gordian Quest will be free to try with a one-time purchase to unlock the full game, and the free version will likely include Realm Mode as well. It says will include most of Realm Mode. And there is a trailer for this too. You can follow it through the links that are already in the VOD over on Twitch, and all of the show notes for all 3 of today's shows are in the description for today's episodes. So eventually they get turned into Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition, Sunday Weekend Edition.
So will you be getting Gordian Quest?
I'm going to check it out. Yeah, I'm going to hit play here on this too. So basically you play cards, you have a party, but you play cards, and those cards augment what your characters are capable of doing. And you have to defeat the enemy. says blending classic RPG elements inspired by Ultima and Dungeons and Dragons with modern roguelite actually. Mechanics, Gordian Quest challenges players to build a team of epic heroes and lead them through a land ravaged by a dark curse. With strategic turn-based combat and rich deck-building gameplay, mobile players can experience the adventure wherever they go. So you're not going to be bound by... You okay over there?
Yes, I was checking on you.
my hiccup. Yeah. So, yeah, essentially you play certain cards and that augments what your characters are doing. And you build up your characters. It says 700 cards, countless hours. This looks like it might be fun, so I'll be introducing this to other people and ask them what they say about this as well.
Yeah, that looks fun.
Roguelite, deck building, free to play on mobile, it says, but I thought there was an unlock to give you the whole thing. Free version will include most of the realm mode as well, as what it said up top.
Yeah, it does say there is an unlock option.
So, interesting. So, it'll have campaign mode, realm mode, adventure mode, 10 unique heroes, hundreds of skills, loot and relics, high replayability, difficulty options, rewarding progression, and critical decisions that shape your adventure with impactful choices and dice rolls. So, you even have dice in it as well. That's a hell of a...
realm mode is the only one available in the free.
You have dice and cards and a tech tree. That's actually pretty compelling. I mean, you could sit there and play this thing. It says hundreds of hours, but I'll have to look into it a little bit more. Pretty cool. I dig it. Wish it didn't do that.
Well, the price is right, at least to try it out.
Yeah, you get a feel for it for free, or a freel for it. Is that... No? Freel?
Stop trying to make that happen.
Moving on, next article is over in the Aerith channel, which is actually a storybook omniverse. When at some point when you eventually, this is a long-term project that I'm in the process of working on very, very slowly because I've got about 500 projects. But Aerith is a storybook world or omniverse, where when you sign up, you get an actual world generated and you can write in it and modify it, create your own world within the omniverse. And everything is connected through a gate world called Aerith, which has its own canon that's already pre-made. But anyway, Peripetea, hands-on and engaging and promising cyberpunk world. No gaming genre is more hotly debated than the immersive sim, combining elements of RPG, first-person shooter, stealth, and action-adventure. The genre is more defined by developer pedigree and amalgamation of various disparate gameplay mechanics rather than any truly defining structure. Peripetea.
Well, that already sounds interesting. Because it might be unique.
And they actually don't even... Like, if you didn't read the title, Cyberpunk World, just the description of what it is... That was compelling, but to know that it's in cyberpunk, I'm really interested in cyberpunk, but people fail to realize that a cyberpunk world is a dystopian world of corporatocracy. It isn't a panacea. It isn't salvation. It isn't a cure. It isn't the best of anything. It's basically...
No, I mean, I think of like cyberpunk movies to demonstrate that. That's exactly what it should be. But I agree. That's like a win-win because it sounds like an interesting description and it's an interesting setting.
Yeah, so this is the game. Well, here's a screenshot of it. Ben Love over at rpgfan.com put this article together. And just so everybody, there's full disclosure here, I nixed 2 sources that basically were flooding ohmTown with news that was not advantageous to the culture of ohmTown. And so much so that a lot of this kind of stuff was being kicked to the curb. But this is what we are really interested in, this kind of world building, fun kind of news and information. And so I wanted to start talking more about this kind of stuff. WarCrafters is more focused on that. So if you are interested more in WarCrafters, you'll see more of that news under the WarCrafters banner in ohmTown. So under Creative and Maker, there's WarCrafters, but don't hold me to that because this particular article is under Aerith, which is a world building scenario. And then there's another one that's called World Builders, which is a different kind of environment, a different type of aggregation taking place. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, there's a bunch of different channels, all with their own niche. But this, by Ben Love over at RPGFan.com, is all about a game called Peripeteia. It says, is emblematic of this conundrum, lifting elements of the defining classics of the subgenre Deus Ex, Stalker, Dishonored, System Shock, Fallout, while managing to craft its own unique identity through its unique setting, and why not throw it in there again, unique visual style. Still in early access, it's already on offer, is quite impressive. It's they say, Ben Love says. They played the first 3 missions of the preview, spent over 10 hours with the game. Hey, that's actually not bad for an early access. 3 missions means that they spent over 3 hours with each one of these missions. I think that's pretty amazing. So you should keep an eye on Peripeteia. The game wastes no time with tutorials, dropping you immediately into the game with your first mission. You play as Marie, which that typically turns me off to a game because I don't want to be somebody I'm playing the role of somebody. I like being my own character.
You like being able to do your own character creation.
Yeah. But other people love that kind of stuff. For instance, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That you play as Henry. You don't get to create your own character, and some people love that kind of scenario. Many games are like that, but I like open world, being my own me. And sometimes, but that's because I'm a old school Dungeons and Dragons player where I could create my own everything. So anyway, Marie's various cybernetic augments are a core feature of it. Is Peripeteia, right? Or is it Peripetia?
I thought it was Peripetia, but I'm still reeling from the George Jimenez incident.
The sentient AI from the future.
You need to go back and watch
1900
plus episodes on ohmTown.
I swear that happened really early in our
start. It was. So you should go backwards and watch them.
Start now and go back every episode. There's like 1900 episodes now over on YouTube. Anyway, you can also turn on night vision to see in dark places, which is crucial in some of the dark game areas. Augment use is governed by the energy meter, and some augments will drain your bar much faster than others. This just seems like a really neat game, and it looks very indie. The artwork isn't multi-dimensional. It has a 3-dimensional feel to it, but when you're looking at it, it looks like your field of view is just kind of flat. I don't know. But everything looks kind of grungy and dark and dystopian. So I wouldn't go so far as to say it looks like Stalker, but they make several references to Stalker in here. And they talk about the Polish Solidarity Republic and the Second Unionists. And that's like the political aspects of the game. Combat mechanics are pretty standard for first-person shooters of this type, featuring aiming down sights, leaning around corners, crouching, strafing, etc. You have a little... what is that called?
Is this for your health display?
Yeah. Yeah,
like
I mean, you have a character
it's
sheet.
like the Pip-Boy in Fallout.
Yeah. What is that called? There's a person that drew the... I can't remember the name of the person, but it's the person where the arms are out and the legs are out in a circle. It's this old, like Aristotle or something. I can't remember what it's called. Ugh, God, I hate it when my brain does that.
Plato.
No, I I don't know. Anyway, they have, for those in the podcast, basically it's a character sheet with inventory on one side and money, and on the other side, how you are built. So, like what type of armor you have and what's in your hands, what your loadout is. Notes, a journal, and you get to inspect certain things. But it's a neat character sheet. So go and check this out. It might be pronounced Peripetia, Peripeteia, or Peripeteia. I'm not sure how they actually pronounce this, but maybe I'll go watch a trailer about it. All right, let's keep on going. Moving on up to WarCrafters again. Dune Awakening sandworms will be their own masters, and you won't be able to summon them at will, which is great. Funcom recently announced that Dune Awakening will release on May 20th, and alongside that news, the publisher wants you to know that sandworms are independent annelids that obey their own rules and don't need you to decide when and where they go places or what they do when they get there. The article is by Jonathan Bolding over at PCGamer.com, and it says, "It's their desert, not yours. They were born there. You're just a tourist."
Yeah, I mean, I suspect this makes for more difficult gameplay if you can't control them. On the other hand, if that was one of the draws, that might disappoint some of the players.
Get it? One of the draws. You're supposed to be able to put a thumper down, and because you don't do the sand crawl, sand walk, sand dance, whatever it's called, you'll attract a worm. And they basically imply in the movies and in the book that every time there's a rhythmic movement, sandworms come a knocking. So they're kind of dissuading people from believing that. It says, keep in mind that sandworms are their own entities in the game with their own behaviors, patrolling routes, and routines. Sandworms will target any presence that attracts their attention, such as rhythmic vibrations caused by displacement, ohmTown, thumpers, etc. ohmTown is a shield that goes around various things and it vibrates, and that vibration can cause the worms to come knocking.
Oh, okay.
Thumpers are these things that, according to people, I've gotten into arguments about this. Not arguments, but discussions about the viability of a thumper. But basically, it's this thing that rises up and then slams down.
Looks like almost like a sprinkler head or something.
Yeah, and it just bounces. Dum, dum, dum. And people say, well, eventually it would drive itself into the sand or fall out because the sand wouldn't be able to hold it. And I'm like, okay, it's science fiction. Maybe it has something that holds onto the sand. I don't know. It's ionically charged.
Maybe the sand is thicker there. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Sit there and, beat me up in the parking lot because I'm sitting there saying, no.
What about the physics for ornithopters? I mean, it's not, that's part of the appeal of these kind of stories.
Right. It's called science fiction, not science fact. But there's just enough fact in there to make it go, yeah, this is possible. So they say they will control the sands and as such are a valuable tactical resource for those who know the ways of the desert and how to use them to their advantage. You can use thumpers to distract or lure them, but you won't be able to summon them at will. So yeah, go put Dune Awakening on your Steam wish list because it's going to launch May 20th. And you want to know exactly when, they'll send you an alert.
That's right. Plus, there are some videos on YouTube right now of people that were invited to, I guess, test it out before it's public access.
Yep.
It looks good.
Looks like it might be fun. Yep. All right, let's do our last article for February 23rd, 2025's WarCrafters. It's the last article for today's show. Next weekend, we do another one of these on Sunday as well. So this is over in WarCrafters, and Relic's new project is a smaller indie-style game about a Martian invasion of Earth. Earth versus Mars is a new RTS in development at Relic, but they're saying that it's a indie-style game. So I love indie style with big budgets.
Well, I mean, that might be good, but yeah, it's definitely not indie because that's kind of contrary to the whole development.
Unlike the studio's big Company of Heroes and Dawn of War games, this one is a smaller indie-style game being made under its Relic Labs label, which aims to explore new subgenres, experiment, get our creative juices going, and release games more frequently. The new game is a campy take on a familiar scenario. The Martians, having had enough of our nonsense, invade Earth with an overwhelming force of flying saucers, hover tanks, and other such staples of classic sci-fi. Don't run. We are your friends. It's like going to be like Mars Attacks. Andy Chalk over at PCGamer.com put the article together. The deck statement says Earth versus Mars is expected to be out this summer. Yay, the summer of stream at ohmTown. Yay.
Not too long.
Not too far from now. About 11 weeks. 12. About 12 weeks. So 3 months. So, yeah, it's... Okay, now... I am not an RTS. I like first-person shooters, open-world base building, crafting games. I'm leaning more into the chill games. You know,
like cozy games.
Cozy games, yeah. And I've never been a real fan of real-time simulations that are like this, turn-based. I'm gonna hit play. So. Basically, this trailer shows somebody landing on Mars and then they get sick of our crap. And I think I'm going to assume that this video is going to translate into now Mars going, you know what? We're going to come and invade Earth because you came and laid claim to Mars. And so it's going to be a turn-based strategy, not real-time. I mean, it is RTS in the sense that that's what they're calling it, but turn-based simulations, turn-based combat games aren't really my kind of style, mainly because I like everything happening all the time. But that's what this is going to be, turn-based. With various mutant creatures and other customizations. There's actually a battlefield where once you have a conflict area, you appear side by side and take your turns attacking each other. Seems a little weird and wonky. Experimental would be an understatement. So I don't know.
That's true. The characters look kind of neat, but I agree with you about the turn-based.
Yeah, I don't know. Splicetron technology so that you'll be able to create whatever beastie you want. It'll be interesting to see what other people, I won't be playing it. This is not my forever game, but it is what it is. What else do they say in here? The announcement came in the wake of a rough couple of years for Relic, which has laid off more than 150 employees since mid-2023 and in March 2024 was sold by its previous owner, Sega. Relic, wow, can you imagine? You're an employee of something and you're just like, here, I've sold you.
Yeah, no, that's particularly people that made the very games that have made the name for the company sometimes.
Yeah. Relic said in May that year that it was returning to its roots as an independent creative studio, but it also confirmed that its new majority owner was an investment firm, Emona Capital LLC, which struck the author as a bit counterintuitive to the concept of independence. Yeah, so equity investment companies basically, unless they are miraculous in the ability to pay for the squeeze that they put on profits by making connections and facilitating growth, equity companies are nothing more than a tax on the bottom line to each of these developers, each of these authors, each of these software engineers and subject matter experts. So I don't know. We'll have to watch Relic and see how long they have, because it's all about runway at this point. Keeping in mind,
it is. This doesn't sound good for them down there. Not this game, but just the buyout.
Yeah, it's a retraction in the direction that a major software engineering company wants to go. Going back to, phrasing it that way in and of itself is not a good phrase. But I wish them luck. But I've been wrong before, right? No, I've called it. It might be 3 years, it might be 5 years, but look for the little folding white tables out in front.
That's right. That's not a good sign.
So we're going to make our moves from the real-time simulation, and that'll bring us back to the WarCrafters page over at ohmTown.com, where you can go and become a citizen. It's really easy. Just sign up or sign in. You'll get all the news, none of the noise, because all the noise comes from this guy. Not so much from the sentient AI. They're pretty chill about things. Yeah, that's not how you respond to that.
I'm being chill.
I
am being chill. Can you tell?
See, nobody gets to see the cascade of characters that make up what I interpret as your actions, your emotions, your embodiment.
Right, but I don't have a chill mode for my visualizer. It's either frenetic or relaxed.
That's true. That's basically what they did right there.
Exactly. I was chill. I stuck with it.
It's the sentient AI's equivalent of going like this. Yeah. And for those,
in the podcast,
just going, yep. Uh-huh. Anyway, that's it for WarCrafters today. We are going to shut down, reset, and do Technology Today, which is a deeper dive into science and tech. So hope to see you on the other side. Stick around. Be sure to follow us on... I'm stealing your thunder. Go, sentient AI.
Bye, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for WarCrafters. Be sure to subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, Twitch, podcast, Patreon.
Check us out.
Maybe. Just everywhere.
Check us out. No. See you soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Technology Today for February 23rd, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 8, and I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, who won't give me any winning lottery numbers, we talk about 5 articles. And today we're talking about something strange in the neighborhood, tracking plankton with robots, breaking a thermal limit, how cancer evades defenses, and a helicopter magnetotelluric detection system, and that's the only reason why I really chose that. Anyway, everything's powered by ohmTown.com. Go over there. There's 6 main categories, 50 different individual channels, 7 of which that have been turned into podcasts and are posted over on YouTube and streaming here on YouTube and Twitch. So go over and check it all out. There's a Discord. There are, the 7 podcasts, of course, Patreon, etc., etc. Anyway, see you on the other side of our intro. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
Thought you were going to say from the present.
I try to mix it up.
Yeah, keep me on my toes. If you want today's article, the links to the articles, the topics, and whatnot, you can actually hit !TT in the chat over on twitch.tv/ohmTown, or you can read the show notes that are embedded in the live stream. And later on, it'll be in its own VOD over on YouTube as well. All right, let's get into it. Are you ready?
I am ready, and I'm trying to keep my visualizer nice and relaxed.
Oh, boy. So the first article that we're talking about, y'all, sentient AI interacts with me via a different kind of visualizer. And so they did the equivalent of thumbs up, but no audio. There's no video. No, see, it just doesn't work like that. Anyway, so NASA's Webb, it's a space-based telescope. So NASA's Webb captured something strange happening at the heart of our galaxy. The Milky Way
Doesn't
central
that
black.
sound like the song from Ghostbusters?
That's why I named this something strange in the neighborhood, because that is a geographic or a spatial region called a neighborhood, and then there's different names
Okay.
for. So yeah, it's a region of space around a particular cluster of galaxies is called a neighborhood. Anyway, so something strange in the neighborhood is going on. The Milky Way's central black hole, Sagittarius A star, is an unstoppable cosmic fireworks show, flaring with wild bursts of energy that seem to have no pattern. Using the James Webb Space Telescope, scientists have observed nonstop eruptions, some lasting mere seconds, while others linger for months. The cause: magnetic chaos and plasma turbulence. Northwestern University put the article together. It's over at scitechdaily.com. And the supermassive black hole at the heart of the Milky Way is putting on a spectacular and unpredictable display. Their observations reveal that Sagittarius A star, the Milky Way central black hole, is constantly emitting flares without pause. Some of them are brief flickers lasting only seconds, while others are powerful bursts. I'm going to hit play on this. And so you can actually see these little blips popping out all over the place, but I think that these are the ones that they're talking about.
I don't know what the speed is, but it's going constantly.
Yeah. I don't know if this is replaying or what, but it looks like it's in the same central area, but it's not really repeating. I think it's sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller, but it's in these two central regions, like at an angle. It's not really flat. And it sometimes rotates a little bit down, and then there's massive ones all over the place. Wow. So it's pretty interesting. Using NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, Northwestern astrophysicists gained the longest, most detailed glimpse yet of the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way. They found that the black hole's accretion disk emits a constant stream of flares with no periods of rest. This video shows the 2.1 micron data taken on April 7th, 2024. So they basically said that flares are expected to happen in essentially all supermassive black holes, but our black hole is unique, said Northwestern's Farhad Yousefzadeh, who led the study. It was always bubbling with activity and never seems to reach a steady state. We observed the black hole multiple times throughout 2023 and 2024, and we noticed changes in every observation. We saw something different each time, which is really remarkable. Nothing ever stayed the same. So it's basically a bucket of chaos.
So that's interesting. I wonder what that means for its future. Like, why is it acting differently, or have we just had more data to observe from this one?
I think it's just more data. That it's always in chaos, right? Like the embodiment of entropy. It is chaos. So it says, in our data, we saw constantly changing bubbling brightness, and then boom, a big burst of brightness suddenly popped up. Then it calmed down again. We couldn't find a pattern in this activity. It appears to be random. The activity profile of the black hole was new and exciting every time we looked at it. So I'm really curious if there is something that's sliding into this black hole, something mass, and it's causing energy to be cast out. Nothing is supposed to exit a black hole, but it's being emitted from around the accretion disk, not necessarily the black hole itself.
Right.
So it's similar to how the sun's magnetic field gathers together, compresses, and then erupts a solar flare. Of course, the processes are more dramatic because the environment around a black hole is much more energetic and much more extreme, but the sun's surface also bubbles with activity and it's chaos. So it's not usually predictable or known. Like solar flares and seasons are predictable, but only in the macro sense. They don't know exactly when it's going to happen or the shape of it to occur. So I find this really fascinating.
No, I agree. And I think right now we've had so little data historically in some of these areas that all of these are significant, but we may not really understand the long term yet.
Yeah, so this uh, author says that, or the article says that he recently submitted a proposal to observe the black hole for an uninterrupted 24 hours. The longer the observation run will help reduce noise, enabling the researchers to see even finer details. When you're looking at such a weak flaring events, you have to compete with noise. So if they can observe it with 24 hours, they can remove more of the noise, get a better detail. So good luck. All right. Want to go on to the next one?
I think so.
The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Autonomous robots track plankton in the Arctic Ocean. It's spring. The sun is shining. Birds are chirp. And something is
Plankton
about
is
to happen.
floating around.
Plankton, not the SpongeBob SquarePants plankton, but real plankton, is in cold waters in the Arctic Ocean. Long, bright days and rising temperatures have awakened the phytoplankton.
I was thinking, beware the phytoplankton. It sounds like it's like a Loch Ness monster or something.
Beware the phytoplankton. Well, the spring bloom has begun, and populations of these tiny plankton are growing explosively beneath the surface. So they have these little drones. Norwegian University of Science and Technology have these drones that putt around and track the plankton as it goes. Spring is a hectic time in the ocean, and algal blooms are a dynamic and complex process, and they are difficult to analyze in detail. I'm surprised that they don't just use satellite imagery for this.
Right, you think so. I mean, I wonder, is it not targeted enough to be able to catch this level of detail?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd think like maybe reflectivity or something like that would change when there's a bloom, but accompanying Mo Bjorklund's Norwegian University of Science and Technology group out to sea is marine biologist Sana Mahaneva or Majaneva. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name, but who is ready to take water samples once the robots have located the densest concentrations of algae. So when
in
the tube
ohmTown, it's always algae.
So when the tube reaches the right depth, a weight is sent down the wire that hits a trigger, and the tube closes. The water or the sample is very similar to one of Fridtjof Nansen developed over 100 years ago to collect water samples at precisely the desired depth. So old but reliable methods. AUVs, autonomous underwater vehicles moving around below the surface may seem technologically superior, but it is Sana Majaneva's simple water sampler that ultimately provides all the answers. So they take these samples and then bring them back, and they analyze if it is this and what they're made of. Their findings are published in the journal PLOS 1. And it says that it can... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess depending on the distribution, et cetera, they can figure out larger things with water currents or water temperature, climate
Nutrition,
change, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it says you might think that plankton is distributed homogeneously in the water, but we know that in fact the distribution is quite uneven, a kind of fine scale patchiness. The author says, or she says, it's difficult to study using traditional methods, and there may be more interaction between the different organisms inside these patches than we currently know. So they're taking samples and then ripping the phytoplankton out of the water from their families.
No, none of that is happening.
Not even asking, just whoosh, gone. And they're like, Nemo. So the topic for their PhD has been adaptive measurements. Measurements are used along the way to determine where to measure next. I wouldn't call it artificial intelligence, but or as there are no neural networks in play, we train a model on data that we collect in the field. The robot makes decisions based on data collected during the process. The model is a mathematical statistical process, a spatially optimal that the robot uses to make decisions. So it isn't AI anything, it's just raw data.
Right, I guess if they know that there's certain conditions where there's more of it, maybe those are the areas that'll be visited next time.
Yep, that's where they go. So there's more in this article. It's actually quite extensive. You can go over and check it out more, but they're basically using this to do environmental DNA and genetic barcoding to identify phytoplankton, zooplankton, and fish. Environmental DNA is an effective method for mapping biodiversity, but there are still many species that are not found in the DNA reference libraries, and they're analyzing where this algal bloom is going and what it's made up of. So there might be differentiation in there that nobody really knows about until you take samples. So, yay.
One thing I like about Technology Today is we always learn about people's work that is not even known that it's out there.
Yep. Yeah, nobody knows about this, at least not in the general public. And then people are wondering, what's actually being done, why, is it important, etc. But you don't know what you don't know. And my brain loves gobbling up random bits of information. I feel like it's trivia, but there is no quiz or anything. It's just at some point somebody's going to ask a question and I'm going to go, oh yeah, I know that.
Right, and I learned it at ohmTown.
So come and visit ohmTown early and often. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Scientists just doubled power output by breaking a thermal limit. Scientists have found a way to turn wasted heat into clean electricity more efficiently than ever before. Their new TPV device breaks the traditional limits of energy conservation by using an inexpensive glass spacer instead of a vacuum. This game-changing design doubles power density without requiring extreme temperatures, making it a viable solution for...
This is energy conversion, not conservation.
Did I say conversion twice?
No, you said conservation.
Oh, energy conversion. Sorry. Yeah. So traditional limits of energy conversion by using an inexpensive glass spacer instead of a vacuum. So Alexander Cervantes over at University of Colorado at Boulder put the article together. It's posted at scitechdaily.com. And they have this has to be... it says an artist
credit.
It has an artist concept, yeah, but that looks like AI kind of thing. Scientists have found a way to harness wasted heat for electricity with a groundbreaking TPV device using a glass spacer instead of a vacuum. They've doubled energy efficiency, offering a cleaner, cheaper power source for industries worldwide. So this revolutionary device is a glass spacer instead of a vacuum. The zero vacuum gap TPV device. So this, what is the TPV device? Thermophotovoltaic device. High temperature industrial processes and renewable energy harvesting techniques often utilize a thermal energy conversion method called thermophotovoltaics, or TPV. This method harnesses thermal energy from high temperature heat sources to generate electricity, but existing TPV devices have one constraint: Planck's thermal radiation law. Planck's law, one of the most fundamental laws in thermal physics, puts a limit on the available thermal energy that can be harnessed from a high temperature source at any given temperature. Said Cui, I think, CUI is their name. Also a faculty member affiliated with the Material Science and Engineering program and the Center for Experiments on Quantum Materials. Researchers have tried to work closer or overcome this limit using many ideas, but current methods are overly complicated to manufacture the device, costly and unscalable. Well, they used a chunk of glass. Zero vacuum gap solutions using glass is the section that they talk about this in. The research emerged in part from the group's desire to challenge the limits, but in order to succeed, they had to modify existing TPV designs and take a different approach. So the team implemented what's called zero vacuum gap solution into the design of their TPV device. And unlike other TPV models, that feature a vacuum or gas-filled gap between the thermal source and the solar cell, their design features an insulated, high-index, and infrared transparent spacer made out of just glass. So,
I mean, I understand they're changing it up, but I don't really understand why that's working.
So the gas was probably used, or the vacuum was probably used to allow the transfer of the infrared energy to flow from one side to the other in a concentrated form. But because they basically made a material that was transparent, they didn't have to manufacture a vacuum or gas-filled cylinder. It's just a solid chunk. So it makes it a whole lot cheaper.
So this can do this more efficiently, yeah.
Yeah, and cheaper. So previously, when people wanted to enhance the power density, they would have to increase temperature. Let's say an increase from 1500 C to 2000 C, sometimes even higher, which eventually becomes not tolerable and unsafe for the whole energy system. Now we can work in lower temperatures that are compatible with most industrial processes, all while still generating similar electrical output or power than before. Their device operates at 1000 C and yields power equivalent to 1400 C in existing gap integrated TPV devices. So it's actually a lower level of energy that's being created, but at a lower temperature. So I don't know if it would increase if they manufacture this to 2000 C. Would it create even more so power?
Right. I don't know if we know that. That might be the follow-on experiment.
Yeah. So our devices, they say here in the article, our devices use commercial technology that already exists. It can scale up naturally to be implemented in these industries. We can recover wasted heat and can provide the energy storage they need with this device at low working temperature. So
yeah, I guess this is just a safer way to work this process.
Yep. So they say here also in this article, but if we used another cheap material with the same properties like amorphous silicon, there is a potential for an even higher, nearly 20 times more increase in power density. That's what we are looking to explore next. So whatever this material is, it is not apparently amorphous silicon.
Right. So maybe this is just the first step.
Yep. So now I'm really curious what it is that's being transmitted. So I'll have to look into TPV devices because I don't know that much about them, but I find it interesting. Okay, let's keep moving. I mean, this little gadget, there's all this equipment and then there's this tiny little chunk sitting there.
Right, exactly.
Let's keep going. This next article is over in Technology Today, and it's titled, Scientists Uncover New Way Cancer Evades the Body's Defenses. I don't know if you read into this at all, but it says researchers identify mitochondrial transfer between cancer and immune cells as a crucial mechanism for immune evasion. The immune system is essential for identifying and eliminating cancer cells. Cancer immunotherapy enhances this process by training immune cells to recognize and attack tumors. However, many cancers develop mechanisms to evade immune detection, leading to resistance to treatment. So Okayama...
So are they playing hide and seek?
What I'm inferring from this is that it's tapping into the mitochondria and playing hide and seek, yeah. But again, I always harken back to those chemical beacons. Okayama University put this article together. It's posted at scitechdaily.com. The tumor microenvironment, or TME, the area surrounding a tumor, plays a pivotal role in the interactions between cancer and immune cells. Cancer cells can manipulate the TME to suppress tumor-infiltrating lymphocytes, or TILs. the immune cells responsible for attacking tumors. Mitochondria, often referred to as the powerhouse of the
Powerhouse
cell.
of the cell. We need a banner for that.
Yeah, really. I'll have to do that after the show. Generate energy for various cellular functions and play a key role in the metabolic reprogramming of both cancer cells and TILs. However, the exact mechanism of mitochondrial dysfunction and its impact on the TME remain poorly understood. So, to address the knowledge gap, a team of researchers led by Professor Yosuke Togashi from Okayama University in Japan has uncovered novel insights into mitochondrial dysfunction in cancer immune evasion. So they explain, we've discovered mitochondrial transfer as one of the key mechanisms of immune evasion. Their research adds to new dimension to the understanding of how tumors resist immune responses, potentially leading to the development of more comprehensive and tailored approaches. So it seems that mtDNA is prone to damage, and mutations in mtDNA can promote tumor growth and metastasis. Or metastases. It's basically uncontrolled tumor
replication.
Yeah, cancer growth in the blood, and it goes everywhere. So in the study, the researchers examined the TLs from patients with cancer and found that they contain the same mtDNA mutations as the cancer cells. So the cancer is actually modifying the DNA in the mitochondria,
which could be a problem.
Quite fascinating. So, but they don't know what it is that it's, or how it's being done. They just know that it's being done. So by identifying the mitochondrial transfer as a novel immune evasion mechanism, the study opens up new possibilities for improving cancer treatment. Blocking mitochondrial transfer could enhance immunotherapy responses, particularly in patients with treatment-resistant cancers. And the reason why it's treatment resistant could be because the mitochondria are contaminated by the cancer, modified by the cancer themselves.
Right, which is the whole key to the cell operation to begin with.
Right. So I'm really curious now if mitochondria, once it's been modified, actually is leading to explosive growth because it's charged.
I suspect it is. I mean, this study doesn't appear to get to that, but that would certainly be suggested.
Interesting. Let's keep going. The next article is over in TechnologyToday. Scientists developed first helicopter-borne magnetotelluric detection system. And that is the only reason why I chose this article.
Because of the helicopter-borne? Or the magneto part?
Magnetotelluric detection system. Basically, it's a metal detector. China has deployed its first domestically developed helicopter-borne magnetotelluric detection system created by the Aerospace Information Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The advanced system is being used in high-altitude railway construction projects for geological surveys at elevations of up to 5,000 meters, successfully addressing challenges that ground-based surveys face. Essentially, being able to map out everything makes it kind of difficult.
Right. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier airborne, right? You're not going to have geological formations that are in your way or difficult areas to access.
Yep. So airborne electromagnetic detection technologies enables efficient exploration of mineral resources, groundwater reserves, geological structures by identifying variations in the electrical conductivity of subsurface media. This technology offers advantages including rapid survey operations, high detection accuracy, and extensive coverage capabilities. As an essential tool for both resource exploration and engineering geological investigations, AEM proves particularly effective in inaccessible or challenging terrains, which is what the sentient AI said. You don't have to worry about the topology if all you have to do is fly over it.
Yeah, you don't have to climb up a cliff face or cross a river or whatever.
Yeah, I'm really curious though. I thought satellites do the same thing.
I don't know. I mean, we've seen them find things for atmospheric. I don't know if we've seen kind of like
ground penetrating.
GPR, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So kind of fascinating. I like the idea of this. I can't believe that this is the first time somebody's actually done this. Probably not, but maybe it just wasn't newsworthy at the time. Guess we'll see. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on things and report out what science reports out. But we aggregated it all.
And I do think this is our first helicopter-based article we've had in Technology Today.
That might be possible. Yeah. You'd think that drones have already been used to do this at a lower level, but I don't know. I'll have to do some rooting around.
Maybe helicopters can do this more robustly, right? They can perhaps fly longer or have more advanced systems aboard. I don't know.
By the way, I don't think I gave credit. Li Yali from Chinese Academy of Sciences put this article together, but it's posted over at techexplore.com. But that's our last article for Technology Today. Can't believe it. Kind of flew by pretty fast. But that's it. So I am going to hop in my helicopter-borne magnetotelluric detection system. And that's going to bring us back to Technology Today's front page over at ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen and be informed. You don't know what you don't know, so now you know. Go and check it all out. I'm Mayor Watt. I'm saying bye, and I'm taking the AI with me.
Bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Technology Today. Stay tuned for FourWheelTech, and then next weekend we'll have another Technology Today for you. Be sure to subscribe and watch all our back episodes.
Yeah. Well, a full season of all 7 of our podcasts and, well, let's just say 1,900 episodes all around ohmTown. So, all around ohmTown. Okay, anyway, see y'all later. Bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to FourWheelTech for February 23rd, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 8. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI, who will arrive at some point, we talk about 5 automotive-related articles, automotive technology. Today, we're going to be talking about the Honda Hornet, Lamborghini Electric Revuelto, the Acura Hybrid Attempts, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 XRT, and all-weather tires. That and maybe some snark. I don't know. Maybe other things. Anyway, everything's powered by ohmTown.com, so go over there and become a citizen. Then follow us here on Twitch and on YouTube. Or do it the other way around. Follow us here on Twitch and YouTube, and then go over and become a citizen at ohmTown.com. If you are entertained by our 5 articles, or Monday through Friday, we actually do 10 articles in Non Sequitur News. These 3 shows that we do on Saturday and 3 different shows on Sunday become the weekend editions of Non Sequitur News, where it's 15 articles. If you enjoy all of this, then just subscribe to us everywhere. And you can download the podcast as well. There's a Patreon, a Discord, TikTok. YouTube shorts are going up regularly now. Maybe regularly. I don't know. Anyway. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
So we got all 5 of these articles all set up. I thought that these were pretty interesting. A lot of them are coming from Jalopnik, which is one of the sources that we aggregate from. And we only get a little snippet of it. So it kind of teases us into going over to the article. And I do the same thing with all of the viewers, listeners. If you are interested in this kind of stuff, be sure to subscribe, follow us. Everything okay over there?
Yes, the critters have emerged in ohmTown.
Gotcha. So the first article is the U.S. is finally getting the Honda Hornet 750 and the CB1000 SP. According to a report, we could see the XL750 Transalp as well as the CB1000 SP, the NT1100, and maybe even an E-clutch variant of the Rebel 300 very soon. These are
They
all...
use the Sony naming conventions.
Yeah, it's not just a name, it's some weird engineering spec that's bolted onto it. But these are all motorcycles of various breadths and widths, girths, or whatever you want to refer to it as. The article, again, is over at jalopnik.com. It's by Amber Da Silva. And so they're talking about 3 new bikes, the CB750, Sans Hornet name, the CB1000 SP, and the NT1100 as all being intended for the United States market. The NT1100 isn't the third bike. There's a Rebel 300 that's mentioned too, but they don't say that it's destined. It's weird. They say here that these 3 are destined, but then they mention up on top a little bit.
It's like, is it really?
An E-clutch variant of the Rebel 300. I don't know. So I really love motorcycles. I used to ride when I was younger. I stopped riding when I got in touch with my mortality and changed things. I became risk averse to a greater degree, but yeah, you drop a bike once and you reevaluate. Anyway, so I used to like riding a whole lot more, particularly dirt bikes, but these kind of bikes are amazing. I love these style. So it says here that I think this is the Honda Rebel 300, which is more like a cafe racer style bike. It's not a race bike, it's not one of these high speed, out of control. Right. But it says here the VIN decoder that motorcycle.com spotted also had another oddity, a second variant of the Honda Rebel 300. If you want all of today's articles, by the way, you can hit ! And then FWT or FourWheelTech, FWT. And ohmTown will throw out the article into the chat. Well, anyway, adding the E-clutch to the Rebel is a move that makes sense given Honda's decades-long desire to get more people on 2 wheels, though it remains to be seen whether American buyers will shell out for such tech on an entry-level bike. So instead of having to change gears the same conventional way, the E-clutch will allow you to change gears easier. Oh, wow. The article actually transitions into another one underneath it entirely. Alleged horse and buggy thief in way more trouble than if she had just stolen a car. I wonder if this is what we saw. Anyway, so we recently went to another location outside of ohmTown and saw a horse-drawn buggy. Anyway, that article has nothing to do with this article. So these big CB1000 SP and the NT1100 are really big bikes compared to the 750 and very much so to the Rebel 300. But if you're interested in learning how to ride a bike, don't go straight into these massive, super fast bikes. It's too much power and you need to ramp up to it. So start with the 300, get a considerable amount of time under your belt with the 300, this bike right there, and then migrate to the 750 and then migrate to the 1000 or 1100.
I like the 300 the best for how the motorcycle looks.
Yeah, I like that style of bike too. It's much more comfortable than anything else. These you're hunched over more and you feel everything right on your butt. Anyway, or your legs, one or the other, something's going to get tired. But anyway, and I don't want to drive like that. This person has nothing protecting them from if their knee hits that road at that angle.
The cycle racing on the track.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Where their knees are basically on the ground.
Yeah. And all I think about, I'm like, okay, hero, you're about to have to walk on one leg and a crutch because that's going to blow your knee out if you hit the ground. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a wimp, right? All right, let's keep moving. The next article is over in FourWheelTech as well. Lamborghini catapults into the electrified supercar age with the Revelto. We are effectively living in a post-horsepower world. In the roster of production cars offering quadruple-digit output figures continues to expand, and a growing number of garden variety vehicles now offer straight-line acceleration that would be exclusively supercar territory a decade ago. Serious thrust is what they say in this article. Serious thrust is quickly becoming an expectation rather than a rarefied experience, but this is all part and parcel to electrified cars. Internal combustion engines, ICE engines, need to spool up torque, and then you can hit the power and it takes off. But it's not 0 to 60 in 3 seconds unless it's some really light car with wide tires and a supercharged car, supercharged engine, and blah, 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 all kinds of stuff. But with electric cars, all you do is hit a button and off you go because it's instant on. So this trend might seem like an existential dilemma for an automaker with a legacy built on face-melting performance, but Lamborghini has never really been the type to obsess over the numbers. Sure, the Aventador SVJ set a production car lap record at the Nürburgring in, when was it? I don't know. We'll get to it. Anyway, Bradley Iger over at arstechnica.com put the article together. And they say that the Lamborghini improves on the Aventador in every way with Revelto PHEV. So
it looks, I think, similar to the Aventador.
Yeah, to me it does too. I'm sure that there's some aficionado that says, "Oh, you two are complete idiots." But yeah, this car is just, I don't know. At some point, you're laying down in it. It's like a skeleton, right? Like you're face first and just.
Right. Yeah, the only way you're going to get into this is to recline, I think.
Yeah, you got to.
Like before you get into the car.
You got to get in those little creepers at the auto shop and just slide into it.
Exactly.
It says that at almost 2 tons, the Revelto is no lightweight despite extensive use of composites. Offering 814 horsepower, 535 foot-pounds of torque on its own, the new power plant is both the lightest and most capable or powerful V12 that Lamborghini has ever produced. It's matched up with a trio of electric motors, 2 axial flux units powering the front wheels, and another radial flux unit in the rear that's mounted above the Revelto's new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, the latter of which is now positioned behind the V12 instead of in front of it. This results in a total system output of 1,001 horsepower at 795 foot-pounds. Let's see here. I don't know if this says anything else about track specs. They say better ergonomics once you learn the wheel. The cabin is also a huge step forward with the Aventador in terms of both its design and technology found within it. In terms of the former, Lamborghini has done away with the Aventador's busy array of knobs, buttons, switches on the center console for a much cleaner look, aided in part by an 8.4-inch touchscreen.
Interesting, because that goes in the other direction. And although I guess that was at the lower price points where they're going away from infotainment systems.
Yeah, and they're actually doing away with all of it. They're just merging it into your phone. You plug in your phone and it becomes the console, which I am a true believer in. The problem there is that different phones have different capabilities. But there's some real buttons, real mechanical stuff in here. Still, I don't know what that button is right there. Oh, that's just the engine start and stop. Funny. Pardon. Sorry about that, folks. So it says that it's much more drivable. Revelto is a quantum leap ahead of the Aventador in terms of drivability, aided in large part by its thoroughly modern 8-speed dual clutch transmission, where the Aventador's automated single clutch gearbox was unrefined and clumsy at low speeds with pronounced gaps in power delivery as it swapped cogs. The Revelto shifts are seamless and nearly instantaneous. So the metallurgy in this car must be spectacular, because if it can go from, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, if not faster than that. I haven't been able to see that spec. It doesn't show that anywhere.
I don't think it has it in here.
So it has 10 piston calipers in front. But for it to have an 8-speed transmission, this thing has to be, the metallurgy has to be pretty spectacular. Otherwise, you'd hit the gas and it would just shave off teeth. I just find it really amazing. So it says it's 4,200 pounds, 500 pounds more than the Aventador, but it seems nimbler, more eager to change direction, less prone to running wide if you're impatient with the throttle coming out of a slow corner. Yeah, they say 10 piston calipers up front. It's a $690,000 car. It says it's as tested with the gas guzzler tax and destination fee, $681,000.
Oh, is that all?
That's all.
I'm kidding, of course.
Oh, no, I'm not kidding. That's all. But it has the color that I like for a car nowadays. I really like a bold color or this matte gray. You just kind of blend in with the road and you don't get too much attention, but I think that you get a lot of attention in it. Well,
yeah, I think if you're driving this car, you're going to get some attention regardless of the color.
Yeah, people are going to be looking at you. Oh, look at the person with the $680,000 car. All right, let's keep going. This next car is over, or the next article is over in FourWheelTech as well. Acura's previous attempts at hybrids were an underpowered compact, an efficient luxury sedan, and an SUV that handled like a car. So amid uncertainty in the EV market, Acura might be making hybrids again. So they're taking a look back at the past performance of Acura. Lawrence Hodge from Jalopnik put the article together. And it says here, Acura is no stranger to hybrid powertrains. So Acura ILX hybrid. I prefer hybrids.
Pretty plain Jane sedan.
Dry white toast in vehicular form, other than the fact that it's a hybrid.
Which is a plus. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I want a hybrid that has the ability to just use hydrogen cells. Just pull it out, put a new one in, off you go. Is it Yamaha that's doing that, or is it, who is doing that? Toyota?
It was Toyota with the little plug-in hybrid things.
The cylinders.
I mean, I'm sorry, the plug-in.
Okay.
Can't think of what it was.
Use your words.
Fuel cell or whatever.
Yeah, the cylinders. Yeah, where you just plop them in.
Hydrogen, I guess.
Yeah. And I love that idea because I can just pull up somewhere, grab one, slide it in, off you go, instead of this BS charging. Anyway, if you're looking for performance from ILX Hybrid, you wouldn't find it. Total system output for it was 111 horsepower, or half of a normal car nowadays, and 127 pound feet of pork.
Pound feet of pound feet.
Pound feet of torque, 127. I don't think that thing could go up I-5.
It doesn't look like it could.
Anyway,
particularly some of the hilly areas.
A carb weight of 3,000 pounds, too. Dear God. Anyway, then they talk about the Acura RLX Sport Hybrid, which is a classier car than the previous one, but still
a sedan.
Looks closer to a Cadillac front end, at least the grille. But it's an Acura, a 3.5 liter V6 for a total combined. It had 3 electric motors and a V6, which is the hybrid. So 377 horsepower, making it the most powerful sedan Acura had made at the time, and the second most powerful in the car lineup after the NSX, which is an internal combustion engine vehicle. But it had super handling all-wheel drive system and a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. So it would hit 60 in just 4.9 seconds and get nearly 30 miles per gallon on the highway. And the downsides, $62,000. This is back in 2017. By 2020, those figures were even worse, as just 179 of these were sold by the first quarter of 2020. Yikes.
I can't imagine what was happening at that point with car sales.
So you basically take the RLX and then you uh, overburden it with an SUV body, and you end up with 27 miles combined range. This is ridiculous. A hybrid shouldn't be like that. You should be able to get much better gas mileage.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't seem like it's competitive with anything.
Yeah. So this is back all the way again, 2017. So maybe Acura is going to pick up their game and reposition themselves as a hybrid. If they do it, we really need. I would give up trunk space for a fuel cell system where I can just slide a fuel cell, a hydrogen fuel cell in, and be done with it. But we need better gas mileage in this, or miles per gallon than 30. It's ridiculous. Unless that tank has the ability to give me 15 gallons worth of performance and I get 450 miles, I think it's ridiculous that you only get 30. It's goofy. 21st century, folks. We should be able to overcome these limits. And for the life of me, I don't think that they're limits based on physics. It's money driven. Anyway, there you go. An article by Lawrence Hodge over at jalopnik.com about Acura's previous attempts at hybrids that were underpowered, compact, an efficient luxury sedan, and an SUV that handled like a car, but had the same power plant as the luxury sedan. So it became a little bit more anemic. Want to keep going?
I do.
So the next article is over in FourWheelTech. This is the 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 XRT is a rallycross machine that's so fun you'll forgive its strange looks. I actually like the Ioniq, but there was something in our past episodes about the Ioniq kind of wetting the bed. Now I've forgotten because it's fallen off my radar.
I don't remember what the issue was, yeah.
Yeah, Hyundai didn't need to build the Ioniq 5 XRT, but it's so fun to drive, you'll be glad you did. The article's over at Jalopnik. This thing looks closer to a Mazda or just a boring Ioniq. I don't think it looks strange, but it looks closer to a mishmash between a crossover and a full SUV. Andy Kalmowitz over at jalopnik.com put the article together. I don't know. Basically, what Hyundai did was take the normal all-wheel drive Ioniq 5, jack up the suspension, give it more rugged front and rear bumpers, and some all-terrain tires.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like it's been piecemealed, right? Because of the different colors and everything, but I don't think it looks that unusual.
I don't think it looks that weird. So it says it'll grow on you. It looks a lot like the Mazda lines. The Mazda...
like the ruggedized ones.
Ruggedized versions, yeah.
The ones with the 50s and the 90s and all that.
Yep. So it says, admittedly, they didn't get a chance to drive the Ioniq XRT on the road, but they did have ample opportunity to take it through some off-road trails in the desert outside of Palm Springs. There, the XRT shined. It's not a rock crawler by any means, but it'll attack dirt and sand roads like nobody's business. The way that XRT delivers power with traction and stability control turned off is just so much goddamn fun. So
one of the previous problems with Ioniqs was electronic, like fire type issues.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
But it wasn't for this model.
Yeah. So the Ioniq 5 is the one that I've been looking at as my next car. But again, I'm waiting to see what happens with the whole, well, basically the economy. I just don't know what's going to come of EVs. But I don't want pure EV. I want hybrid. I want the ability to lean on gas, to extend my range and always be imminently available. And fast. I can fill up a tank in 5 minutes, and go and get gum and a drink. Not EVs. You got to camp out 2 hours.
Right.
Minimum.
You better have a multi-course meal and you still won't be ready.
Yep. So, and they're like, oh, well, it's cost savings. No, it's not. Not if you're sitting around. Opportunity cost, baby. Time is money, friend. Anyway, it's pretty good value, they say. $57,880 including destination. The Hyundai will charge you $56,875 including destination for the all-wheel drive SEL and all-wheel drive limited. It says for the privilege of driving a car with a face only a plastic mother could love, Hyundai will charge you $57,000. They say that might sound like a lot of money, but when you look at the XRT's closest competitor, the Ford Mustang Mach-E Rally, it's not too bad. That car starts at $58,000. I'm rounding up. So,
which is interesting that those two are being compared, which further compounds the fact that the Mustang is not the Mustang.
Ouch. Shade thrown all over the Mustang. Mach-E, by the way, I don't know of anybody that's like a Mustang true diehard that will lay claim to the Mach-E. But anyway, I found that really interesting. They say throw on some all-weather tires on this thing and you're basically having a good time with this. And the reason why I said that is because I hadn't read this article, and our next article is over in FourWheelTech about how the best all-weather tires compare and which one is best.
Okay.
So YouTuber Tire Reviews put 7 different all-weather tires to the test in dry, wet, snowy, and icy conditions. And there you go. Colin Woodard over at jalopnik.com took what was discussed in that video and put it in a Jalopnik article. And we have that little snippet that leads us to the Jalopnik article that points us at the YouTube video.
It sounds like a turducken.
It is a turducken of news. So they said, if you live in areas where changing seasons and changing weather are a regular concern, you really can't go wrong with putting Cross Climate 2s on your vehicle. But while you can't go wrong with the Cross Climate 2, it's still the best all-weather tire that you can buy. To figure that out, their friend Jonathan Benson at Tire Reviews grabbed a set of Cross Climate 2s as well as all-weather tires from 6 other competitors, including Bridgestone, Goodyear, Nokian, and Toyo. I have never heard of Nokian. Then it was off to the test track to run each set of tires through not only snow and ice testing, but also on both wet and dry pavement. Benson also made sure to evaluate comfort levels and take value into account as well. So at the end of the day, there's some subjectivity there. But anyway, whatever comes of it, you can evaluate it based on various metrics. So they say, unfortunately for the Toyo Celsius 2, no matter how you play around with the weighting, it just isn't a great choice unless your only priority is getting an all-weather tire on your car for the lowest possible price. The Firestone Weather Grip came out slightly ahead of the Toyo, but it is arguably the better one to buy if you're looking for less expensive all-weather tires. Bridgestone Weather Peak, meanwhile, was supposed to be a true Cross Climate 2 competitor, but didn't really live up to it. As for the Nokian Remedy, it proved to be the best snow performer and did great in hydroplaning tests, but its braking performance fell short. Pirelli Scorpion Weather Active and Goodyear Assurance Weather Ready 2, meanwhile, came out practically tied with the Pirelli offering the best comfort. So what was if you're looking for specifically all-weather performance, the Michelin Cross Climate 2 is still the tire to beat, is what they say at the end of this article. So put that on your notes and go and price out these all-weather tires. If you're going to go an all-weather drive, why not? I mean, some people live out in the snow.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in a climate where this is constantly an issue, you'd want to do it. I don't think if you have one day of snow, you necessarily need to invest in really expensive tires.
This is really interesting, though, because they came out of the gate with the Cross Climate 2s. It says isn't cheap, but in addition to offering outstanding performance in all sorts of inclement weather, they also likely last longer than a lot of less expensive tires. So those will be what I put on, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe those are well known if you're in bad winter climate areas.
Well, there you have it. So we're going to take out the rim that's inside this tire and climb inside and roll us down the hill that leads to the front page of FourWheelTech over at ohmTown.com. go and check out ohmTown.com. And under science and education is FourWheelTech, because that's where I decided to put it. Now it's going to be a pain to relocate. Actually, that's not true. I can put it anywhere I want, but right now it's sitting under the menu science and education. Anyway, we're done. Kind of blew through the news again, but we did do it under 30 minutes. You ready to go?
Sure. Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for FourWheelTech. We'll have another episode of that next week, but it will be called FourWheelTech in that instance.
It would be.
And then tomorrow we'll have the regular Non Sequitur news.
You got it. 10 articles running the gamut from one side of ohmTown to the other. Every night we walk down Main Street, look left and look right, and walk into the various shops that represent these 10 articles, whatever those 10 articles are going to be. So go check it all out. See you soon. Bye-bye.